Hello, and welcome to Gundam Customs Review of Boku no Hero Academia, Episode 8. The episode begins with a flashback of Kachan and Midoriya's young little children. Now with this, Kachan talks to Deku about if he ever gets a quirk, it won't make him more powerful than him, because he's going to be the best. Now with this, it actually goes back to the fight between Kachan and Midoriya as heroes with the abilities. Now, Midoriya uses his one for all, and Kachan uses his explosive at the same exact time. Now, Midoriya uses his one for all not to hit Kachan, but to uppercut a hole through the roof. Now, with this uppercut, it gives enough debris so Uraraka can use her anti-gravity, use a pillar as a bat, and do a home run attack. Now, with that, the debris flies straight towards Ida. Now, Ida is more paying attention towards the debris as Uraraka jumps straight towards the explosive. Now, with this, the heroes win. Midoriya is injured because both his arms are decimated. His right arm because he used one for all, and his left arm for dodging Kachan's attack, which he had read from his movements. Now, with this, Kachan realizes that Midoriya read his movements and was more or less angry because he felt he was predictable and his pride got hurt because of it. Now with this, All Might sees as Kachan shows this shocked kind of stunned look, and he knows that something's happened with his pride because Midoriya has done this. Now he says he's going to comfort him later, and at the very moment he doesn't. And the three who are not injured actually go back to the command center as Deku, who got passed out after he said to Kachan that he didn't want to use his powers against him, he actually passes out and goes to the medical center. Now with this, Kachan, Ida, and Uraraka are standing in front of everyone else, and All Might says that out of all four of the people in that exercise, Ida was the one who did the best. Now he asks the rest of the class what they think of Ida being the best. Now Momo, the girl with the black ponytail, the big jugs, and the short skirt, which I find she's really hot. But with this, the character Momo raises her hand and spouts off straight away that Bakugo, aka Kachan, and Midoriya both used excessive force, which with Kachan he had already said from All Might. All Might already said that to Kachan that he was using excessive force, which would have injured an ally and or taken down the building, which would have maybe have caused the explosive to go off. Now with this, Midoriya also did something similar, which could have destroyed the building, injuring Uraraka and causing the explosion to go off. Now for Uraraka, she didn't keep her composure when Ida was pretending to be a villain, because she laughs because she couldn't see him being a villain, and the fact that when the debris was shot towards Ida, it could have hit the bomb, which could have made a big. Now with that, Ida really didn't do very much except for try to get into character, but he still did the best because he didn't harm any allies, he didn't try to take down the building, and he didn't cause anything that could have harmed the explosive. Now, with this, All Might kind of said that she went into too much detail to himself. Not out loud, but to himself. With this, she kind of goes on a little rant, and I kind of really just skipped most of what she said. She's a pretty face, I guess, huh? I'm gonna get some hate for that, but sorry. Now with this, it goes to the second one, which is the Invisible Girl and the guy with the tail versus Shoji, which is the guy with the 6 arms, and Todoroki, which is the guy who looks like Two-Face with the red half and the white half. Now with this, Shoji goes in and uses his ability known as duplet arm. Now, it goes into explanation saying that the tentacles on his other two tentacles on each side, which I consider more arms, the tips of those can generate any kind of human body part, or any kind of body part the person has. Now, with that, he can be, or he kind of looks and finds that both of them are without their shoes, and the invisible girl is probably setting up an ambush. Now, with that, Todoroki tells Shoji to leave and uses one of his abilities, which is ice, which he freezes the entire building as Shoji walks out, not injuring Shoji. Now, with this, Todoroki walks through the entire area as the invisible girl mentions her feet's frozen, and the guy with the with the tail is more or less ready to fight Todoroki. Now, once Todoroki gets into the room, he gets into his position to fight, and Todoroki mentions the fact that his feet will lose some skin if he actually does move and try to attack him. With this, Todoroki goes over to the bomb, touches it, and makes a win for the heroes. Now, with this, his second half of his ability comes in, which he uses to melt all the ice, which is fire, or well, heat, which is called his ability completely is called half hot and half cold, which his right side of his body uses ice and cold, while his right side, or left side, uses heat. Now with this, the battle is ended, and they go on to another battle, and another battle, and another battle. Now they show very few, or just very few parts of it, like maybe one or two little second clips of them, and with that, the exercises are over for the day. Now, All Might is in front of the entire exit with all the kids there. He says that he's going to practically check on Midoriya and give a review with him and over what happened and what he needed to go over. Now, he also left not only because of that, but because his time limit was running out. We've heard in the first couple episodes that he has a 3-hour time limit, which during this entire time must have taken 3 hours because he was running low. Now, he bolts away, in which the children actually, most of the children actually mention how cool they find All Might and his abilities. Now, with this, he gets into the medical area and quickly opens it and quickly shuts it as he reverts back to normal. Now, he looks like the skinny guy, which I actually like him better as that because he just starts bleeding most of the time. This time he didn't start bleeding, but with that, his super All Might clothes were kind of scrungy and kind of like too big for him. And with this, he talks to Recovery Girl. She kind of scolds him for not stopping the fight between Midoriya and Bakugo, aka Kacchan, where Kacchan injures him so much, but even though Midoriya is All Might's favorite. Now, All Might says that he feels that Midoriya wanted to go along with this to prove himself. And, in my opinion, he proved himself as a great fighter. Now, with that, Midoriya is needing more guidance, is what she says, but then it goes into exposition about how All Might is needing to kind of pass on his power to Midoriya, and people at the school, the faculty, know about his ability to, or his weakness, that he has a 3-hour time limit and he is, well, weak. As this is also, you find out that there's even fewer people, which is only the Recovery Girl, the nurse, the principal, Midoriya, and a couple of his close friends know about him having the all-for-one ability, or one-for-all ability, which allows him to pass on his quirks. Now, with this, we kind of have a little bit more chatting between those two, and how she says he needs to guide Midoriya more. And he says that he believes that he is the symbol of peace, and most likely it is the symbol of peace, All Might. Now he wants to pass on that mantle to Midoriya so he doesn't get, or so the society doesn't get overrun by villains when All Might dies. Now with this, Midoriya is also thinking to himself, well, having flashbacks in his kind of coma-like state. I'm not 100% sure how to explain that, but it's kind of about him and Kachan. Now he wakes up in the late afternoon. He goes to get his stuff from the class with his arms not completely healed because he doesn't have enough stamina. Now with that, he gets into the class to find that everyone's still there and they kind of swarm him. Now, a lot of them introduce themselves and are saying that the battle between him and Kachan were really awesome, and that their abilities were pretty cool too. Now, with this, Tokoyomi, the bird-faced guy, was on a chair, or was on a desk, and Ida came by and just randomly was like, "No, no, 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 you must not do that." And I'm not a good Ida voice, but still, with that, he's actually saying that like that's the desk where great heroes had sat before them, but like and upperclassmen as well. Now he's more of a respectable character for like he respects all people higher than him, but he kind of gets annoying. Now with this, they actually skip from that to Uraraka, who comes into the room, and was going to be asked out by the guy with the lightning quirk, or the static or lightning quirk, and he or she just goes straight to Midoriya and asks why he isn't completely healed. He mentions the fact that he has low stamina and that the recovery girl couldn't heal him because the stamina he didn't have enough of. So he's coming in for another thing the next day. Now he looks at Kachan's desk to find that he's not there. He asks where he is, and they tell him that he's leaving school because school's over. Now Midoriya actually goes out to go and catch up to Kachan. With this, he gets outside to the steps while Kachan's halfway to the steps, or halfway from the steps to the exit gate. Now, Midoriya says, "Kachan, I didn't want to use this ability because it was a borrowed power." Now, he promised All Might not to tell him. He hasn't actually said it was from All Might. He said he's gotten this power from someone else. And he's mentioned that he's not really used to the power, but he wants to make it his own so he can finally use it against Kachan. Now, Kachan finds this aggravating as heck and just, like, grabs his hand and just starts cursing rapidly. And with this, Midoriya is kind of like, he kind of realizes he's saying too much and he's kind of like, And with that, he kind of just curses him and gets really angry and says his feelings, then turns away to leave. Now, before he gets to the end of the gate, All Might comes by super fast and is right behind him, holds him by his shoulders and says, and wants to comfort him because of what happened to him. Now, with this, Kachan says he can't walk because he's holding him, and he looks back at him and says that he will surpass All Might one day. Now, with this, All Might lets go, and Kachan walks away. Now, as this is happening, it goes to a spot where the three girls, the Toad Girl, Uraraka, and the alienish girl, I'm really not sure what her name is, even though I've read it several times. I think it was Mina, actually. But, with that, the three of them talk, and they're like, that it was Midoriya kind of just, like, making excuses why he didn't go all out and use his ability on Kachan. Now, Uraraka says it was a battle, it was like something about men confronting men, so, with that, it actually has, All Might go back to Midoriya and say, "Hey, what are you talking about?" And then Midoriya kind of freaks out and it kind of fades to the sunlight. Now, after the credits, it gets to a bar, a villain bar, where there is this guy with a whole bunch of hands like everywhere on his shoulders, his face, and practically everywhere. And a guy with foggy face and this like crow man with his brain showing. And it has a newspaper with All Might's picture, and the guy with the hands says, so he's a teacher, and puts a glass of, I think it's alcohol, it could be something else, I'm not sure, but it's probably alcohol, on it, and says, wonder what would happen if the villain kills him. Now with this, it ends the episode and shows the preview for the next episode, which looks pretty cool because it's going to be a bus episode. They're going somewhere. Okay, for me, I really liked this episode. I would give it a 8 out of 10 because of the fact that it had a little bit of battle and it had some forget. Well, I can just alter this video.